After getting a second chance at life, I decided to stop obsessing over my childhood crush, Alex, once and for all. When he slapped up a sign at his birthday party that said no dogs or me were allowed, I just booked a flight to Hawaii to get as far away from him as possible. When he told me that my smell in his house was disgusting, I didn't hesitate to move out. And when he said he didn't want to breathe the same city air as me after graduation, I packed my bags and never looked back. Eventually, he mentioned that my presence was making his girlfriend, Mia, confused. I just nodded, and shortly after, I went public with a new relationship. I kept making choices that were the complete opposite of what I did in my past life. Because in that life, after I married Alex like I wanted, Mia tragically jumped off a cliff and took her own life. He blamed me for her death, tortured me, and abused me until I finally drowned in the sea. This time around, I just wanted to live a good life. Later, I was holding hands with my new boyfriend when Alex suddenly stood in the road, eyes bloodshot. "Sarah, if you come with me now, I'll forgive your joke. Sarah and dogs not allowed inside." Seeing that familiar sign at his door, I cried tears of joy. Sarah, that's my name now, listed with a dog as an insult. But no one knew how thrilled I was because I had been reborn. I returned to the day of my fiancé Alex's birthday. Everyone thought I wasn't a match for him. Our family backgrounds and looks were worlds apart. He was the wealthy heir of a prestigious family, and I was an orphan with no parents. A childhood joke had tied us together for over 20 years. Everyone felt sorry for Alex, including him. So he put up that sign to keep me out, even though I was dressed to impress. "Sarah, it's not us who won't let you in. It's Alex's decision. Be sensible. Don't make it awkward for everyone." Alex's best friend stood at the entrance, coldly delivering the message. On either side of him were security guards with batons. This whole setup was just for me. Everyone knew Alex despised me to the extreme. In my past life, I didn't enter the party either. I waited at the entrance like a stray dog from day to night. Later, I caught a fever and passed out from the cold. When Alex's parents found out, they scolded him and rushed the engagement. On our wedding day, Alex's girlfriend Mia jumped off a cliff. In Alex and his little group's eyes, I was the murderer. Alex avenged Mia by cold shouldering, mistreating, and tormenting me for years. I repeatedly asked for a divorce, but he refused each time. Alex viciously said he would drag me down with him. That feeling of being ignored, invisible, non-existent, it lasted for 20 years. In a state of madness, I eventually jumped into the sea and drowned. The irony was that in my last moments, I saw Mia had returned, reunited with Alex. She wasn't dead. She was alive and thriving as a celebrated international designer. Their belated, passionate love story was hailed by all. From beginning to end, I was the fool. So now, starting over, I wanted to live well and stay away from Alex. Under everyone's surprised gazes, I turned and walked away without looking back. Back at Alex's house, I took off the fancy dress. Everyone could see how low I'd gone in my pursuit of him. If it was all about Alex, I had always been cautious, carefully arranging everything for him. Alex often said work was too stressful and he wanted to relax, so I planned a Hawaii trip for him around his work schedule since he said he missed the beach and the sea there. Yet, in the past life, Alex didn't agree to go to Hawaii. Instead, he chose a hiking and camping trip with Mia, and I was ordered to follow along. In pouring rain, Alex made me fetch Mia's bracelet. I fell off a cliff and broke my leg, ending up in the hospital for 2 months. I never wanted to experience that life-endangering disaster again. Staying away from Alex was the first step. I quickly packed my bags, grabbed my documents, and headed downstairs. And that's when Alex, in a suit, burst in. Seeing me, he suddenly sneered, grabbing my luggage and tossing it aside. I frowned and asked, "What are you doing?" "Sarah, I should be the one asking you what you're doing. Playing runaway at your age? Next, are you going to leave some farewell note and threaten suicide again?" Alex huffed with disdain. "Sarah, aren't you too childish, using suicide to blackmail me again?" I patted the dirt off the suitcase, replying deliberately. "Who told you I was going to commit suicide? People like you and Mia, one with a wolf's heart, the other a dog's lungs, live just fine. I finally got another chance at life. Why would I take my own?" Alex sneered, eyes full of contempt. With Mia trailing behind, she slowly began speaking. Sarah, if you wanted to join the birthday party, you should have talked to Alex properly. You've grown up like siblings. Of course, he wouldn't keep you out. Using suicide as a trick once might work, twice, and it loses its charm, Mia hinted as she spoke. Alex's look at me grew more loathsome. Memories flooded my mind. After Alex and Mia started dating, his attitude towards me changed drastically. In anger, I had written about wanting to drown myself. This scared Alex's parents. They commanded Alex and Mia to break up. From then on, Alex detested me, ignored me, and refused to communicate. Mia's little clique isolated and bullied me, and he didn't intervene. Looking at Alex, I explained, "You're overthinking it. I never intended to kill myself. I'm packing because I have a flight to Hawaii." Alex scoffed, mocking my poor excuse for saving face. Mia tugged at Alex's sleeve. "Alex, why not let Sarah join us? She seems so pitiful." Alex furrowed his brow, ready to relent. I refused once more. "No, I'm going to Hawaii." His handsome face shifted slightly as he sneered. "Hear that? She wants to go to Hawaii, Sarah. Now's not the time for nonsense." Mia sighed, wrapping her arm around mine. Her sharp nails dug deep into my skin where no one could see. I cried out in pain and pushed her away. Mia fell to the ground, pitifully clutching her hand, looking at me in disbelief, lips trembling. Sarah, you're asking for it!" Alex reacted angrily, pushing me with more force. My head hit the stairs hard, the pain making me dizzy. I heard Alex's voice rise in anger. "Sarah, have you had enough of bullying people? Staying with someone like you makes the air in this house feel rotten. Really makes me sick." Enduring the pain, I stopped him from saying anything harsher. "I'll move out, don't worry. You better walk the talk." Alex's rage was all choked up in his throat. He glared at me, then picked up Mia and stormed off. As I felt the sticky blood on the back of my head, a random thought crossed my mind. My relationship with Alex didn't used to be this tense. Since I found out early about our engagement, knowing we'd end up as family sooner or later, I used to stick to him a lot. He was rebellious, sneaking off to unlicensed internet cafes to play games, and I'd tag along. Later, he got into a dispute over a game. I tried to calm things down, but ended up getting accidentally hurt, slicing my finger. In that moment, Alex turned into a dispute over a game. He beat up a much larger guy until the man begged for mercy. But now, the same guy who used to panic over a small cut on my finger was willing to blame me without knowing the whole story, calling me reckless. But whatever. Soon our engagement would be over. I glanced at the servant nearby and managed a weak smile. "Can you take me to the hospital? I can pay you." A new young maid seemed eager to help but was pulled back by an older woman. Their hushed conversation still reached my ears. "Are you looking for trouble? Don't you know Sir hates Miss Sarah the most? If he finds out, you'll lose your job." The young maid got scared, gave me one last glance, and ran off. I shook my head, letting out a bitter laugh, and crawled to pick up my broken phone. Alex's parents are out most of the time. They're home maybe 3 or 4 days a month. Alex is the only master here, and he's told me more than once, I'm not a part of his family, I'm on my own. So nobody dares come near me. Whenever I come home, leftovers are always thrown out, tied up in the trash. The plates on the table are empty. I got used to it. I managed to get to the hospital. The doctor said I had a concussion. They wanted me to stay for 2 days for observation. After being discharged, I went back to Alex's house to pack up. The servants watched indifferently as I struggled alone. By that afternoon, I moved everything to a place I had hurriedly rented. It's just temporary. Once I have my diploma, the engagement is off, and I can leave everything related to Alex behind. 3 days after leaving Alex's house, Alex called me, sounding like he'd had too much to drink. "Where are you? Private room. Come over." I was busy writing a resume and got annoyed at being interrupted. "Alex, what do you want?" The line went silent and even the background chatter quieted down. I said hello again, didn't get an answer, and was about to hang up. Then Alex spoke. "Sarah, where did you go?" I resumed typing, putting my phone aside, and said offhandedly, "Didn't you say living with me made you sick? So I moved out. Relax, I won't be going back." His breathing turned heavier, followed by a cold laugh. "Sarah, since when do you listen so well? Wasn't it you who pestered me before? If you're such a good listener, why don't you leave the city and disappear from my sight? Can you do that? Sarah, whatever game you're playing, if you keep targeting Mia, I won't let you off easy. The mouse slipped a bit under my touch as I stared at the screen. It took a moment for Alex's words to register. Alex's mocking voice cut through. What? No words now? Aren't you bored with your little games? Apologize to Mia, and I'll allow you to come back. I spoke slowly. Fine, Alex, I promise. I'll leave. Then I hung up without waiting for his response. With my diploma in hand, I'd gotten responses to my resumes. The one I'm happiest about is from a big company in the next city. I quickly set up an interview. Having a job was something I always dreamed of. I was super nervous, but just before getting on the train, the company called. I got in. Sitting on the high-speed train, I eagerly searched for a new place to stay. The thought of leaving Alex thrilled me. As soon as I got off the train, Alex called me. His voice came through sharply. No pleasantries. Sarah, where are you? My good mood was doused like a bucket of cold water. What do you want? Alex's tone was colder. My parents are back. They want you to come for dinner. By the time I got back to Alex's house, it was evening. There were 4 at the dining table. Alex's parents, Alex, and Mia, all wearing equally grim expressions. I guess something must have happened while I was gone. I kept my composure as I walked in. Alex's eyes scanned my face, and for some reason, he threw down his chopsticks and went upstairs. Not eating. I'm sick of it. Mia chased after him. I quietly sat down next to Alex's parents. They awkwardly made excuses for Alex. I looked at the 2 of them, who had always seemed like my own parents. In my past life, they tried to save me when they learned Alex had imprisoned me. But now Alex was in charge of everything in the house. They couldn't do much. I didn't blame them. Only my own foolishness. I spoke softly. Uncle and Aunt, I've thought long and hard. Alex and I aren't right for each other. He doesn't like me. I don't like him. Instead of becoming a couple filled with resentment, how about setting each other free? Let's call off the engagement. Alex's mom's face froze, her eyes glistening with tears. Does it really have to come to this? I nodded firmly. Having resolved the issue that troubled me the most since my rebirth, I felt light as a feather. Before leaving, I went back to my room to grab some things I'd missed. Mia blocked my way. Sarah, can you give Alex back to me? I'm carrying his child, and the baby needs a father. Her eyes reddened, making her look pitiful. I frowned, stepping back instinctively. Mia showed a strange smile, then grabbed my hand and forcefully pushed herself down. Sarah, don't push me. The baby, my baby. It hurts. Mia tumbled down the stairs, blood flowing between her legs. Alex rushed out of the study, seeing the scene with furious eyes. He slapped me hard. Sarah, you're so cruel. They used to say you bullied others, and I thought they exaggerated. But now I've seen it myself. What's your excuse? If not for you, Mia and I wouldn't have split up. Why do you keep interfering with us? Alex's parents came out of their room. Seeing them, Mia clutched her belly, crying louder. Alex seethed, asking bitterly, Mom, Dad, look. This is the wife you picked for me. As pain coursed through, my head spun and ears rang. I saw Alex's face, full of grievance, like the whole world had betrayed him. I didn't think, I just slapped him back twice. Don't worry, as of today, I'm not anymore. Alex, I've put up with you long enough. He stared in disbelief. I rubbed my hand. I nodded at the 2 elders standing at the door with an unclear expression. Uncle, Auntie, I have something to do, so I'm leaving. I didn't care how they reacted and just left. As soon as I stepped out, I collapsed by the roadside. Alex must have hit me with all his strength. My cheek felt numb and painful. Thinking back, I should have hit him back a couple more times. Alex was always like that. He never took my side. He only ever criticized me. Mia loved to play the victim and use little schemes. Back in high school, I suffered because of her tricks. Mia got locked in the bathroom and called for help. I rescued her, yet she turned around and suggested I was the one who locked her in. I couldn't even defend myself because Alex never believed me. Eventually, I stopped trying to explain myself. The misunderstandings piled up. Hey, need a ride to the hospital? I squinted up at the voice. A man in all black. Hat, mask. The works stood by me. With that getup, he was either a celebrity or a creep. I was about to shake my head when I passed out again. When I woke up, I saw the familiar white ceiling of a hospital and that off-putting smell of disinfectant. A man with golden curls was sleeping at my bedside. I couldn't resist and reached out to touch those lovely curls. The man woke up almost immediately, and when he locked eyes with me, he blushed and quickly pulled up his mask. But even with just that glimpse, I recognized his famous face, some idol from the entertainment industry. Just as I was about to speak, my phone rang. It was Alex, that unlucky guy. I swallowed my disgust and answered. Alex's voice was tired and hoarse. Sarah, Mia had a miscarriage. My baby is gone. This was my first child. How could you be so cruel? While he was drowning in sadness, I was completely indifferent. Alex, you could just end the engagement with your parents, you know. It's really that simple. It was only ever a verbal agreement. So why not just do it? Is it because you want your cake and eat it too, all while blaming the cake for not jumping onto your plate? Have I been too good to you all these years? Alex, you're really not that smart. I hung up, frustrated. The young man next to me gently advised me not to be angry. The doctor said you have a facial injury. If you've encountered violence, I can introduce you to a lawyer. I looked at him. Though he was dressed in all black with a mask, his gentle, starry eyes showed vulnerability. I smirked and looked away. There's something you can help me with? Alex said my presence stops him and Mia from being together, right? Okay. That day I posted a photo of us holding hands online. His long, fair fingers clasping mine in a heart shape. My caption was simple and direct. Official announcement, I'm in love. The comment section blew up. What's going on? That doesn't look like Alex's hand. Sarah, what's the deal? You should delete it. Alex's buddies all jumped in. I watched with satisfaction and put down my phone. I know you. You're that famous idol, Ethan, right? The guy waved his hand, embarrassed. Our group has disbanded. I'm not an idol anymore. From just a little time spent with him, I got a pretty good sense of his character, covered up so tight. He could be a star, a creep, or even socially awkward. I smiled at him. Thanks for helping me twice. If you don't mind, can I treat you to a meal? He hesitated, so I added, if you're not free now, we can set up another day. We planned to eat together 2 days later. On my last day in Los Angeles, I had already sent most of my stuff over to New York, so only a couple of small suitcases remained for me to take. Since announcing my new relationship online, Alex had been calling like a madman. I blocked him, but he just used different numbers. I started thinking about changing my number. One call I accidentally answered and Alex was shouting, Sarah, what's he doing? Did you betray me? Sarah, how did I not realize you were this capable before? I suppressed my annoyance. Ever since waking up to my indifference toward Alex, I realized he had no redeeming qualities and was particularly foolish. Alex, I'm rarely this harsh, but you honestly make me sick. You and Mia caused a scandal, and I just posted a relationship update. Then your friends jump in for justice. You curse me out. What, am I your pet? Or did your family buy me or something? Alex, why don't you ask your uncle and aunt about our canceled engagement? I'm single. We have nothing to do with each other. Whether you and Mia are in love or hate each other has nothing to do with me. Alex couldn't believe it. What did you say? Cancel the engagement? No, I don't agree. He was so worked up and determined that I paused for a moment on my end of the phone. Then I fired back. Who cares if you agree or not? We never had an engagement party. You never publicly recognized me as your fiancé. And everyone knows you hang out with Mia all the time. To be honest, your agreement doesn't matter at all. After that day, Alex's parents kept calling me. They asked if I wanted to go back. I flatly refused. After all, I had finally escaped from there, so how could I go back? The day I had dinner with Ethan, he was still covered head to toe. I understood. He stood out too much. I had specifically booked a private room, but fate really likes to play games. We ran right into Alex, that jerk. He rushed over and grabbed my hand. Sarah, did you truly betray me? I thought you were joking. I can't believe you're out dining with this guy. Who is he? Alex, do you think you're in some kind of CEO drama? I couldn't help rolling my eyes and pinched the skin on his arm hard. When he let go, I quickly shielded Ethan and stepped back. Alex had this issue where he'd get aggressive for no reason. Previously, he even trashed my luggage, breaking the suitcase completely. Alex, your eyes are hurt? Sarah, you're siding with him. I was speechless. I'm not siding with him. You think I'd side with a jerk like you? Can you just leave? If you're bored, you're such a pain with these constant fights. We're not anymore. We're done. Alex gritted his teeth. Sarah, I'm not letting you go. You messed with my kid. You owe me one. Such explosive words. For a moment, I thought I heard wrong. Alex, if you've got issues, see a doctor. Isn't that giant camera at your place doing anything? Mia fell on her own. I'm not taking the blame for that. I shot Alex a smirk. In dramas, this kind of stunt happens to get rid of trouble. Alex, for old time's sake, I suggest you check into who you're really with at night. In another life, Mia faked her death and returned after 30 years with flair. She married some 84-year-old billionaire overseas. Soon after he died, she hooked up with his son. She left her good life back there because she messed with too many people and got caught by someone's wife. I can't stay there for a woman that's so calculating. I can't believe she'd use Alex's child just to frame me. Alex looked shocked. I laughed the way he usually did. I thought I could finally leave. Alex took a big step, blocking my way, his eyes red, tears brimming. Sarah, if you come with me now, I'll forgive your joke. I looked at him like he was something gross. Alex, are you okay? You need to get your head checked. I walked past him, taking Ethan with me. This place has bad vibes. We just ran into someone I dislike. Let's go somewhere else. Ethan agreed obediently. Someone I knew sent me a link, hinting I should take a look. Once I clicked it, I saw Mia was streaming from the hospital, crying her heart out, accusing me of causing her miscarriage. Playing weak was her specialty. With a hospital backdrop and a diagnostic report, it was easy to believe her. Mia led netizens to bash me online, adding me on social media, calling me nonstop. In no time, my profiles were swarmed with hate. Even old classmates, whether we knew each other or not, jumped in. I laughed out of anger, called the cops immediately, then phoned Alex, told him to hand over the footage. But I never imagined Alex being so shameless. Sarah, you want to clear your name? Fine, the footage is here. Just come back home. Just return to me, and it's yours. I know Mia's true colors. I won't be tangled with her anymore. Sarah, from now on, I'm yours. I almost vomited. I ended the call after getting enough on record. Then I started my live stream and publicly rebutted Mia's claims. For those that slandered me, filed lawsuits, Alex's ridiculous offer proved Mia wasn't an innocent victim. She wasn't even a victim at all. Astute internet users began analyzing, and curiosity seekers demanded Alex release the footage. Under pressure, Alex's parents forced him to release the footage. Mia's miscarriage story fully unraveled. Rumor has it she signed a contract and was prepping for a debut. Now she's broke. Due to the false accusation, I asked to report later. Luckily, the new company was understanding, even recommending legal support for my case. Once at the new job, I changed my number and deleted everyone linked to Alex. About half a year later, on a business trip with my boss passing through Los Angeles, I wanted to visit Alex's parents, but the schedule was tight, so I had to skip it. Unexpectedly, I ran into one of Alex's friends. I didn't really remember him well, yet he recognized me instantly, warmly as could be. Hey, have you been in touch with Alex lately? Seeing he was itching to spill, I shook my head. He immediately said, after everything, owing millions, Mia went crawling back to Alex. He helped pay it off, but Mia wasn't behaving. Alex investigated further, and it turns out we thought wrongly. Mia and Alex weren't mutual about anything. Just because of you, but that's beside the point. The point is, Mia couldn't keep herself out of trouble. She got with all of Alex's close friends, at least 5 of them. The kid they accused you of messing with wasn't even Alex's. You wouldn't believe it, but in LA, this is all the talk. Mia's infamous now. They say she's desperate to marry rich. Alex couldn't let it go, sued. Now Mia owes millions, currently hunting for an old man. Alex is not much better. He fought with his former buddies, all left worse for wear. I hadn't realized it was this tangled underneath. But Alex deserved it. The day I left LA, Alex waited outside the hotel, determined to see me. With the hotel staff's help, my boss and I left through a different exit and caught our flight on time. Back home, I was greeted by the warm scent of dinner. A man heard sounds and came out in a girly floral apron. "You're back." I drew a bath, cleaned up, and soon dinner was almost ready. That's what happiness feels like. I wrapped Jake in a hug. "Why are you home so early today?" "No events?" Jake quietly explained. "Agent said it's time for a new chapter. Got me a film script. Wants me fit. Away from the spotlight for now." My eyes sparkled playfully as I bit him. "Got some free time then, huh?" I hooked an arm around his neck and ordered, "Carry me inside." "Hurry up!" We didn't plan to go public so soon. Jake thought about leaving showbiz altogether, but his agency wouldn't hear of it and re-signed him for another 3 years. Once he transitioned successfully, he was doing great. Just taking films now, his fame skyrocketed, meaning even date nights involved sneaking around, usually at night. Jake had enough with a ring he designed himself. He quickly proposed. Of course, I said yes. Yes, yes, Sarah. Instinctively, I turned around. Seeing who spoke, my mood sank. From the shadows, Alex stepped closer, eyes fixed on me, turning redder by the second. I frowned. "Alex? Who gave you my address?" Alex spoke softly. "I tracked it down myself, Sarah. Don't worry, I just want to talk." Feeling Jake squeeze my hand, I patted him, signaling to go on ahead. Reluctantly, Jake left, looking back repeatedly. I got laughed at by everyone. Alex sniffled, sounding almost like he's about to cry. "Sarah, you all right?" I completely put on a cold face, speaking the truth. "If it weren't for your interruption, tonight would have been great." Alex started giving me that weird look again, like he was searching for something through me. I got chills. "Alex, what do you really want?" Alex shook his head. "My parents have been missing you. They've been talking about you a lot. I heard from friends that someone saw you around, so I did some digging." "Nothing much, just wanted to see you. Wanted to see how you're doing." I didn't let my guard down. Lately, the news has been full of stories about ex-boyfriends hurting their ex-girlfriends. "Well, now you've seen me. I'm doing just fine. Tell your folks to take care, and I'll visit them sometime." After saying that, I turned around to leave and saw Jake's board figure standing under the tree. I quickened my pace to run over to him. "Waited long, right? Let's go." Alex's epilogue. I was reborn back to when I was 26. I was over the moon. But when I ran outside, I found everything had changed. The villa was gone, and the feeling of Sarah was missing too. Nobody lived there. I went crazy looking everywhere, but I couldn't find her no matter what. "Mom, Dad, where's Sarah? Where did she go?" My parents looked even more aged than they did in my previous life. Mom gave me a calm look. "Why are you looking for her? Weren't you the one who drove her away back then? Don't think about Sarah anymore. You wronged her, and she won't forgive you." My happiness shattered to nothingness in an instant. It was like someone took a shovel to my heart and emptied it, leaving it cold and hollow. After some questioning, my parents finally told me what I did in this life. Since my birthday, Sarah seemed different. I guessed she might have been reborn too. Right then, I felt a surge of energy within me. Sarah, just like me, reborn. Maybe she'll understand me. I began searching for Sarah, but I hurt her too deeply. I couldn't find a trace of her. Luck wasn't on my side. 6 months later, I bumped into an old friend. I wasn't the high and mighty Alex from before. My family wasn't as thriving as it used to be. I nodded at my old friend. He mentioned seeing Sarah. Turns out she was just in the neighboring city. I tidied up and made my way to Sarah's place. But I saw her holding hands with some guy, strolling around fondly. At that moment, I realized it was probably over for me. Sarah had someone new by her side, but still, I couldn't let it go. Why did fate give me another shot at life then? I called out Sarah's name. She walked toward me. She didn't look happy at all. I asked how she was doing. She's doing just fine. Well, that's good. At least she's still alive.